Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm going to be showing you some books that have recently made their way into my collection. Now, before diving into this video, I do just want to mention here that I am currently recovering from COVID-19. The dreaded Rona got me this year, guys. I have been very ill over the past week and a half, and today's the first day where I'm feeling up to filming. So I don't know how this is gonna go. I have just filmed my November TBR and that definitely took it out of me. And this video is going to be even longer because I do have quite a few books to talk to you guys about today. So if my voice starts going, if you can see my energy levels start to drop, then that is why. And I did just want to let you know at the beginning of the video for full transparency. I do normally film a book haul video when I've hauled 10 books. I do have 11 books to show you guys today, as well as a few bookish prints that I recently got as well, and wanted to show you guys because I absolutely love them. So without further ado, let's dive into the video and you can see which books I have bought recently. Before diving into the books, as I mentioned, I do have some prints that I would like to show you guys. I follow an artist called The Little Wilderness on Instagram. I absolutely love her work, and for the past few months she has been offering these prints for £4, and I just thought, you know what, I've always loved her artwork. This is a very cheap price. I'm gonna get myself some, and of course that's exactly what I did. Now, you may be able to tell from this art print, these are inspired by The Lord of the Rings, which is my favourite franchise and world. I'm obsessed with it, you guys know that. And my aim was to get 4 prints so that I could put them in a photo frame. However, I do believe she's just released her November print and it is of Barad-dûr, which I need to get. So I don't know how big this collection is going to be, but I'm so happy with the prints that I've got so far and I can't wait to get some more in the future as well. So starting off, we have this print of the Shire, and it says here, "I miss my books and my armchair and my garden. See, that's where I belong, that's home." Then we have this one of the Mines of Moria, and I don't need to read the text to know that this says, "Speak, friend, and enter." Then we have the Argonath, and it says there, "Behold the Argonath, the pillars of kings." And then lastly we have this one, and this is actually from The Hobbit. You can see the Lonely Mountain here and then Smaug above it. We have Bilbo there as well, and it says, "Home is behind, the world ahead." I will leave the link to the website and the Instagram page for The Little Wilderness down in the description box. So if you would like to check them out, I would highly recommend, because as I said, the products are amazing. The designs just keep getting better and better, and they are offering deals at the minute as well, which I'm just getting sucked into. Moving into the books though, I am going to group these first two together and show them together to you guys because they are both books by the same author, and that is Sir David Suchet. Now, for those of you who don't know, David Suchet is pretty well known in the UK. He has done a lot of theatre productions. He is an actor both on TV and film, and he is most well known, as you can tell from this book, for portraying Hercule Poirot, who is the detective in Agatha Christie's murder mysteries. If you guys are new to my channel, you may not know, but I absolutely love the ITV adaptations of Agatha Christie's works. David Suchet has portrayed Poirot in every single one of them. There are over 70 episodes in total, which is crazy, and they have adapted every single one of Agatha Christie's Poirot books, and of course David Suchet has played Poirot in them all. Now, what's very exciting is that a few months ago, my friend Emily over at Emily Kathleen Reads here on YouTube asked me if I would like to go to an event with her for David Suchet's new book, Travels with Agatha Christie. Now, the event was part of the Henley Literary Festival and the tickets were pretty cheap, so I of course said yes. I wasn't actually sure if we were going to be able to meet David Suchet, but I at least wanted to see him in person and hear him talk about this new book, but also his time as Poirot, and I'm so glad that I did end up going. Now, I have filmed a vlog for that weekend, which I will leave linked up above and down below if you would like to check that out. It is one of my favourite vlogs that I've ever filmed. I just love everything about it. You can tell how excited I am. I also meet up with Emily, who is a bookish friend, and I of course met someone who I've looked up to for years, and so it's just a really nice vlog and I am really proud of it. But all that to say, I bought this book secondhand on Vinted, which is Poirot and Me by David Suchet, and this is one that has been on my radar for a while, but I just never bought it. But when I booked my tickets to go to the event with David Suchet, I decided to get myself a copy. As I said, I got it on Vinted. I think it was about £2, which is honestly a steal because these brand new go for about 20 odd pounds, which is crazy. I listened to the audiobook of this actually on my way there, and I'm so glad I did because David talked about a lot of the things that were mentioned in this book in his talk. And obviously because I'd read this, I had a bit more of an insight into what he was mentioning and what the significance of that was in terms of his life as well. So as you can imagine, this book does just focus on David Suchet and his acting career, but mainly his career as Poirot. And I will say, I'm so glad that he was the man to portray Poirot because he loves that little Belgian detective so much. That obviously comes across on screen, which is why I love the series so much, but to hear him talk about him in his own words was just so heartwarming. And he actually faced a lot of struggles with directors because he wanted to portray Poirot in a way that was true to the character and to Agatha Christie, and the directors of course wanted him to do it a little bit differently at some points. So having an insight into things like that was so interesting. We of course have some photos throughout as well, and I just thought it was a really lovely reading experience, especially listening to the audiobook because David Suchet narrates it himself, so it really does feel like you're listening to him talk on a personal level, and I just loved it. What's amazing is that I did actually get to meet David Suchet at the event, and he did sign these books for me. So it does just say here, to Canon from David Suchet, and I'm just even happier now that I bought this book to take with me because I would be devastated if I was there and I didn't have this book to hand for him to sign. And then I've briefly talked about this one, but this is Travels with Agatha Christie. Now David Suchet has recently come out with a series for Channel 4, I believe it was, where he travels in the footsteps of Agatha Christie as she was doing a tour of the Empire back in 1922. I'm just double checking that I'm getting this right, but he does visit South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Hawaii and Canada, and he learns a lot about Agatha Christie throughout this trip and also experiences some of the things that she would have done 100 years ago. Now David is actually a photographer and he does take quite a few pictures. This book is made up of his pictures whilst he was away on this tour, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to show you this. You're probably not going to see these at all, but it's filled with stunning pictures of his time away, and he also writes about the significance of the pictures and also of course Agatha Christie and what he has learnt about her throughout this journey. So I am very excited to be diving into this one. This one was the reason that the event was being held. It's because this book was being released after the release of the series. I still don't think it's out yet actually. I did look it up and I believe the release date is January of 2026. So the fact that we also got this so early on is a real privilege, and it just makes it all the more special. Now I have watched 2 of the episodes on Channel 4. I've really loved them. Again, David Suchet is just so wholesome and you can see how much he loves Agatha Christie and how much he owes to her in a way because of where he's at now in his career. He just loves it so much and you can just see that shine through, and so yeah, I'm just really looking forward to completing the rest of the series and also to read this one as well. Now when I got this one, I actually ordered this one with my event ticket. So you could go to the event and not buy the book, but you could also go to the event and get a signed book, which is of course what I did. However, because David was actually signing, he then also signed and personalised this one for me. And again, it's just so special because of that. I'm so grateful to him for taking the time out of his day to sign things and take pictures for us. Emily, who I've mentioned a few times already, absolutely loves David Suchet as well. And Tom, who is my boyfriend, came with us. He's watched a lot of the Poirot adaptations with me and he loves those, and so it was just a lovely weekend. Very wholesome, very special, and I'm so glad that I did decide to vlog it. I am going to stop talking about these now though because I feel like I've rambled on, but I did get these 2 books because of course I was meeting David Suchet and I'm really glad that I had them to hand for him to sign at the event. The next book I have to show you is Deadline by Steph McGovern, and this is one that was gifted to me by my mum. I think we were out in Tesco Tesco one day and we saw this book was out, and I mentioned to her that it's meant to be really good, it sounds very interesting, and so she decided to buy it then and there for my stepdad. He has since read it, I think my mum has read it as well, and they have now gifted it to me. And honestly guys, I can't wait to read this because from what I can remember, we have a news anchor who is about to go live and her earpiece is actually hacked. These people claim to have her daughter and they threaten her by saying that she needs to do exactly what they are telling her to do or they are going to kill her daughter, which is honestly the scariest thing ever. And I don't know how I would react in that situation. So I'm very intrigued by the premise of this book. I feel like it's going to be a very fast-paced one as well. And from what my mum said, she did enjoy it. So that definitely gives me hope. I found myself drawn more and more towards thrillers this year because my life's just been so chaotic and busy that I've needed a faster paced book that I can pick up and fly through and it keep me hooked throughout. And I'm hoping that that is going to be the case for this one. The next two books I'm going to talk about are both Greek myth retellings. The first one is one that I'm so excited about because it's Natalie Haynes' new book. Now, if you don't know, Natalie Haynes is a historian. She specialises in ancient Greek history, and of course she is a published author and she does write about these different stories. This is her latest release. It's called No Friend to This House, and I believe that we follow Jason and Medea's story throughout this book. To be honest though, I really don't need to know anything about a Natalie Haynes book. I will read anything that this woman publishes, and it's just a plus that I am interested in Greek mythology myself and that I do enjoy these stories. Yes, so we have Jason in this book, who of course is the Jason from Jason and the Argonauts, who go and get the Golden Fleece. But whilst on his journey, he meets Medea, who is a princess, and she's the daughter of a brutal king who of course meets Jason on his quest and decides to help him. Now this is very risky for her because of her brutal father and also the fate of her family, but she does of course decide to help Jason, and it says here, Medea Jason sees their one chance of a life together as the gods intend, but their love is steeped in vengeance from the beginning and no one, not even those closest to them, will be safe. That sounds amazing. Can't wait to dive into this one. I wanted to read it this year, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I do tend to enjoy my Greek myth retellings running up to the summer months, and with this being a relatively new release and with the summer months long gone, I do think I'm going to save it so that I can read it next year and hopefully get the most out of this book. I believe that this is actually the Waterstones exclusive edition as well, and it is, if I'm not mistaken, signed by Natalie Haynes, which makes it all the more special. And then the next book I have is Medusa by Rosie Hewlett, which, if you couldn't guess, focuses on Medusa, who is the Gorgon that we all know about. And I will just read you the snippet for this one. It says, Medusa breathes new life into an ancient story and echoes the battle that women throughout millennia have continued to wage, the opportunity to simply be heard. Now, I don't know how much you know of Medusa's story, but throughout the years she has been portrayed as a monster, but that is not necessarily the case. She definitely did some bad things, but she is the one who was wronged at the beginning of her life, and she was punished for something that was out of her control and was made into what we know her as today. So I am excited to read this and to see how Rosie Hewlett tackles her story. This is once again a Waterstones exclusive edition with a gorgeous stenciled edge. It is a short one as well, so I don't think it's going to take me too long to fly through this one. It's under 300 pages, it's about 260 pages, so I should definitely fly through it pretty quickly, but it's a beautiful book. Very happy to own it, and yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to prioritise it at the beginning of next year, and hopefully this is one that I will enjoy. Next up is a book that I am very excited about, and that one is Diabound by Sable Sorensen. This is the Waterstones exclusive edition of this book, which is honestly gorgeous. I don't know how well you can see the stenciled edges there, but I am obsessed. Anything with a wolf on there I'm bound to love anyway, but just look at the colour here, look at the imagery. I love it so much. It's definitely a bit of me, and I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but I'm judging the book by its stenciled edges, guys. I love this. This is a relatively new romantasy release, and it has been so hyped these last few weeks on BookTube and Bookstagram. Now, I do actually own this book on my Kindle, but when I saw this stunning edition, I had to pick it up for myself. This is an edition as well where you have different colours for the books. I can't actually remember how many of them there are. I think there are 4 different colours that you can get as the hardcover, and I very luckily got blue, which if you don't know is my favourite colour. But look at the foiling, it's so pretty. Again, we have a wolf's head on the pommel of the sword, and I just think it's beautiful. We also have a map as the end pages, and we have this artwork on the reverse of the dust jacket as well. Now, I am going to start this off by letting you know that wolves are my favourite animals, so I'm definitely biased towards this book already. But as I said, I've heard nothing but amazing things. It's apparently a really easy book to fall into and read, and that is definitely what I need right now. And so yeah, I decided to pick this one up. I haven't started it yet. I do feel like I'm going to save it for either December or January just because of the snowy vibes from the stenciled edges. Let me know if that is anything to do with it or not, but I do feel like I do want to possibly save it to read it earlier on next year, because I do have a lot of books that I want to prioritise for the end of 2025, and I want to be in the right headspace to read something like this where hopefully it is going to be a new favourite. I do think I'm going to read you the synopsis for this one, mainly because I genuinely don't really know what it's about. So it says here, only the worthy survive the bonding trials. She'll risk her life and her heart to be one of them. Merrin Cooper has always hated the bonded, elite warriors who form mental links with the massive, vicious dire wolves they ride. The bonded live in luxury while Merrin struggles to keep her family out of poverty, and when her little sister Sailor is kidnapped, stolen across the border by the immortal monsters her country has spent centuries fighting, Merrin's world falls apart. Desperate to cross the front and save her sister, Merrin enlists in the army and is thrown into the deadly bonding trials, where any mistake will cost her life. Now Merrin must survive 4 months of training at the castle. She is bound to a feral direwolf who refuses to communicate. The other trainees would love to spill her common blood, and her cold and beautiful instructor, Stark Therion, is eager to punish any weakness. Everything is a competition and everyone is out to get her. Everyone except the dangerously handsome Crown Prince, whose attention adds another target to her back. In the castle, every smile hides a knife, and the halls hide dark secrets. It's bond or bleed, duel or die. Failure is ruin. Okay, so we have direwolves and we have someone called Stark, so this is definitely a nod to Game of Thrones. This also sounds very similar to Fourth Wing as well, so hopefully it is a little bit different. Of course it's going to be, but the premise does seem pretty similar, so we'll see how it compares. All in all though, I'm very excited to read this one. I can't wait to get to it, and it just sounds like it's going to be my type of book. Next up we have Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross, which is a beautiful Waterstones exclusive edition once again. Honestly guys, Waterstones are killing it recently. I love their exclusive editions. I will say though, I have received a few damaged books from Waterstones, so I did just want to mention that here, but this is so pretty. As I said, I haven't actually read a book by Rebecca Ross, I don't think. I do own the Divine Rivals duology, which I've heard nothing but amazing things about, but honestly the hype has scared me so much with that I have been putting it off. So that is definitely a duology that I do need to prioritise. But when I saw that this was coming out, obviously it is in a stunning edition, I did decide to pre-order it. And I do think I'm going to read this one before the other duology, just so that I can see whether or not I gel with her writing style. And I do feel like this premise is very intriguing to me. Now, I do believe that this is a romantasy book. We are following our main character, Matilda, who is a goddess blessed with messenger magic. Now, that means that she can carry letters and secrets through the realms, including one of her own, a mortal boy who appears only in her dreams. 10 years ago, Vincent wrote to Matilda on the darkest night of his life, begging the goddess that he befriended in his dreams for help. But his prayer went unanswered, forever hardening his heart against the gods, that is, until she arrives bearing a letter with the promise of a future beyond dreams, one that might rewrite the dark blood-soaked ways of the gods or end them. So yeah, again, it sounds really interesting. This is beautiful. I didn't even know that this was on the cover of the book. It says, "We were doomed, she and I. One day I would perish and she would live on, endless as the stars." And then if that hasn't sold you, this definitely will. Look how stunning this artwork is. I love it so much, and I didn't even know that there was a dragon in this story. How cool is that? I have a feeling that this is going to be a pretty sad book because we have a mortal falling in love with a goddess, which is never going to end well, is it? I do think this is also a standalone, but I may be wrong, so please correct me if I am wrong down in the comments. But this is just one that stood out to me. I'm very intrigued by it. The imagery all across this book is stunning, and it's definitely drawn me to it. Next up, we have The Art of Legend by Leslie Chu, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I can't tell you anything about this book because I haven't read the first one, and this is the third book in that series. Now, the reason I bought it is because it is the Waterstones exclusive edition once again, and I do own the Waterstones exclusive edition of books 1 and 2, so I couldn't leave it there. I couldn't risk not getting it and then missing out on having the matching edition. So that is why I'm hauling this one this month. It is such a beautiful cover though. I can't wait to actually start this series. It is one that I'm planning to prioritize in 2026. I haven't really heard anything about it, to be honest, but it has a lot of good reviews. It has some stunning artwork, and honestly, that is all I can tell you, unfortunately, which makes me an awful booktuber, I know, but I don't want to spoil myself for anything, just in case. But again, this is a beautiful book. It has this stunning map on there, and I will say actually, I'm much more likely to read and complete a set of books if I own all the books in that series than I am if the books are still being released, because I read the first book, I'm very excited for the second book, but it's taken so long for the second book to come out that I either need to reread the first one or dive into it without really remembering all that much. So I do find it a lot easier to have these books to hand, so that is my excuse in this case. As I said though, hopefully I can prioritize it next year and let you know my thoughts on it, but as I said, the synopsis is something that I don't know about this series. I obviously looked into it before buying the first book and it sounded like something I would enjoy, so keep your eyes peeled for a review of these coming soon, and if you have read these, please leave me your spoiler-free thoughts down below. Next up, we have The Rebel and the Rose by Catherine Doyle, and this is the sequel to The Dagger and the Flame. This is once again a beautiful Waterstones exclusive edition. Hopefully that is focusing for you guys, but I really love the design of this. Again, I did buy the Waterstones exclusive edition of the first book, which is why I went ahead and pre-ordered this one, but as you've come to expect from me, I haven't actually read that first book yet. In my defense though, I have recently been reading the Twin Crowns series by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Webber. They have obviously co-written that, and so when I saw that Catherine Doyle had a new series coming out, I did want to support her and give it a go, because I have enjoyed reading the Twin Crowns series. In this one though, we have two rival assassins who are pitted against each other in a deadly game of revenge, where the most dangerous mistake of all is falling in love. So I believe we have some type of magic that is controlled by different factions in this world, and we have our two main characters who belong to different factions, of course. On the night of her mother's murder, 17-year-old Seraphine runs for her life. Seeking sanctuary with the Cloaks, she is hell-bent on revenge, of course, but she has some secret abilities, and the male main character in here, of course, has some abilities of his own. Nothing can prepare these main characters for when they meet, and we soon realise that they are bound together by more than just magic. Now, I don't want to say too much more than that. It does sound very intriguing though. I do need to get a move on with reading these books. I don't know how many there are going to be. I don't know if it's a trilogy, a series, or even a duology, but because I own the first two now, I do feel like I need to get a move on with reading them, because I don't want to be spending money on another book if it's going to be a middle of the road series. Then next up we have a Carissa Broadbent book, which is The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. This is set in the world of the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and I don't know if this is connected to anything. Yes, it is. The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk is the stunning, heart-pounding sequel to The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and the second book in the Shadowborn duet. Okay, so it is a duology. I do now own both books. Can't tell you anything about this one, to be honest, because I still need to read The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is the second book in the first duology in this world, and then I do obviously need to catch up and make it to this duology. So this is another instance, unfortunately, where I can't tell you anything about this one. All I'll say is that in the world of the Crowns of Nyaxia series, we do have vampires, and that's all you need to know. So I am sorry about the fact that I can't really tell you too much more about this book. I really enjoyed The Serpent and the Wings of Night when I first read it, but again, I really do need to finish that duology now, especially because I am buying Carissa Broadbent's books as they come out, and I need to get caught up and see if that's something that I still want to continue doing. And then the last book I have is Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Kemmerer, which is once again a beautiful Waterstones exclusive edition. Look at these stenciled edges. I absolutely love them. They say the magic will find you when it's ready, and I will say I was really excited about the release of this book, but since it's come out, I am not as excited anymore. From what I've heard, this is a why choose romantasy book. And you guys know I'm not the biggest romance lover in general, but a why choose is definitely not going to be for me. So I am really hesitant now to dive into this one, and I don't know if I should. So I am going to ask for your help. If you have read this one, please do let me know what it was like down in the comments. Of course, keep it as spoiler free as possible, but I don't know if I want to waste my time reading this one if it's going to contain something that I know I'm not going to enjoy. I will say though, I didn't know that this was on there either. Look at the artwork on the book itself. How beautiful is that? We have a sword and it says, who should you trust, who should you love, who should you kill? Love that, but they don't have the question marks on there. It does say who should you trust, who should you love, who should you kill on the synopsis as well. So I will actually read this to you because I don't know what it's about, and to give it a fair shot, I want to let you know what it's about, and then you guys can let me know if you think I should read it. It says, warrior King Maddox Kiranan's fire magic has earned him a ruthless reputation, but now his kingdom is slowly burning, a blaze he cannot control, and his one chance to save it is a marriage alliance with the neighbouring royal family of Astranza and their power to manipulate the weather. As war looms on the horizon, Princess Jory's home needs this alliance, but her family is hiding a dangerous secret. Their magic is fading. When she meets her intended, he sets her heart aflame, but what will he do when he realises she's deceiving him? Once a young nobleman causing mischief with Jory and Astranza's palace, Asher is now part of the Hunters Guild. When a lucrative job arises, he can't refuse until he sees the targets. Someone wants King Maddox and Princess Jory dead. Now Asher must decide what he's willing to do to protect the woman he loves and the king she's about to marry. I'm definitely getting a love triangle from that, which of course could then lead to a why choose romance, so I just don't know. The premise sounds really interesting to me, but I know that I don't enjoy why choose. I just don't like it. No hate to any of you who do, but it's just not for me, and so I don't know whether or not to actually read this one. I do like Bridget Kemmerer's writing style. I read A Curse So Dark and Lonely, I believe, from this author. I only read the first book, but I really did enjoy it. So that's definitely drawing me towards this book, but I just don't know. I want to look into it, but I of course don't want to be spoiled. So please do help me out down in the comments. If you've read this book, what did you think of it? Do you think I'm gonna like it? And is the why choose element throughout this very prominent throughout the book? Here we have it though, guys. These are the books I've recently entered my collection. Not gonna lie, they're extremely heavy, so I'm gonna have to put them down. But I feel like we have a really good stock of books here. We have some different genres, which will definitely help me in terms of pacing. And I have heard good things about every single one of these. If you have made it this far through into the video and would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and leave me a snake emoji down in the comments. Medusa and her snake hair is obviously something that we've seen throughout pop culture over the years, and honestly she's just someone that really fascinates me, so I can't wait to read this book by Rosie Hewlett. I feel like it's a fun emoji to sum up this video, and I know I say it all the time, but seeing you guys comment the emoji of the video truly does mean the world to me. It blows me away that you guys watch these all the way through. So if you are still here but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Remember that I do have the link to the Little Wilderness shop down in my description box. I would highly recommend checking it out because her artwork is phenomenal. And don't forget to check out one of my recent vlogs where I went down to Reading to meet Emily and also to meet David Suchet. As I said, it is one of my favourites and it would mean a lot to me if you did go ahead and give it a watch. But that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!